It's easier to spot when a guy sees your big booty and is horned up and he approaches you because of that. But have you ever stopped to think, what does a man do when he's emotionally attracted to me instead? See, if you don't know what a man who's emotionally attracted to you does, how will you be for sure that the guy you like is even emotionally attracted to you? Which is exactly why on today's show, we're going to be discussing the 7 big signs a man is emotionally attracted to you. That way, you know if the guy you want actually wants you too. Let's hop into number 1, which is going to be solving your problems. When a man becomes emotionally attracted, and we can also say emotionally invested in you, they start to want your life to be good. You know how they always have the saying, happy wife, happy life. It starts to become important to them that your life is good, your life is easy, and your problems are solved. The first thing they're always going to be thinking of whenever you present a problem or an issue in your life to them is, how can I help you to solve that problem? And that is a sign of emotional investment, because a man who is not emotionally attracted to you or emotionally invested in you will not give a single damn about solving your problems or helping you solve your problems. That's why some of you that be asking me, how do I get a guy to spend money on me? How do I get a guy to pay for things? You turn it into a problem that needs to be solved. You don't tell him I need money, but you tell him, you know, I've got a couple of things that I would really love to do. And, you know, if I just had $300, my life would be so much better and I would be able to do it, but I'm just not sure how I'm going to get the money. It's actually the same reason why a lot of times you might just want to vent to the guy that you're talking to and tell him about how you feel and all that stuff, and you don't necessarily want to do anything about it, but he's sitting there like, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to come here, and you got to, if you talk to this person and you email this person and you ask this question, it's showing emotional attraction because of the emotional investment, right? Emotional attraction and emotional investment are one in the same, right? Because you're not going to be emotionally invested in someone then that you're not really emotionally attracted to. Now, obviously you can have emotional investment in someone that's not your romantic partner, like a mother or father, but in this case, it's one in the same. So let's say, for the sake of example, you have an issue that's going on at work, and you have a work colleague. Let's say this girl at work, she really gets on your nerves and is always bothering you. This girl at work is always talking behind your back and always saying this and that. And she's always, going behind your back on these projects and sabotaging your projects, and you're getting in trouble with the boss because of it. And he's like, okay, honey, you know what we're going to do? We're not going to let Stephanie ruin your work life anymore. I'm sitting here with you and I'm going to help you craft the email that you're going to send to HR. You're going to send them a stern email. You're going to collect all that evidence and we're going to type out what we're going to send to HR. Okay. We're going to get Stephanie fired. And you're thinking, wait, I didn't say I want Stephanie fired. I was just, no, we're going to get Stephanie fired. Get on this damn laptop. We're crafting this email right now. Even if the problem or issue is something totally unrelated to him, he's always going to feel inclined to help you and want to help you solve your problem. Men are so keen on their woman and their woman's happiness and state of mind that whenever they're invested in a woman, they're always thinking about how to ease their anxiety, ease their pain, make sure they're good, and want to keep them in a state of what we call homeostasis. Number 2, let's talk about shared activities. Now, this is kind of a fun one, and some of you that have been in long-term relationships notice this. So shared activities is essentially when a man will take interest in activities that you already enjoy because he wants to enjoy the same things as you. An example of shared activities would be, let's say you have a really nice book that you enjoy reading and you love reading Robert Greene books. And when you meet him, you're talking to him about how much you love reading Robert Greene books. And today you're reading the 48 Laws of Power and you're so into it and you're learning so much and it's giving you so much amazing value. And he's like, oh, gee, I've never read that book, never tried any Robert Greene books or anything like that. And let's say 2-3 months down the line of you guys dating, because remember, this goes over time, he says to you, hey, you know what? You said that you were reading that Robert Greene book. I actually started reading a Robert Greene book and I was wondering if we could read it together. A man who's emotionally attracted to you will want to share experiences with you. And the best way to share experiences with you is to share activities with you. So a lot of times men aren't going to be like, oh, well, because I am emotionally attracted to you, I want you to play basketball in the men's league like I do. No, what he's going to do is he's going to try to step into your world. Even if it's something that hasn't been necessarily that fascinating to him, because as they get to know you and they become more attracted to you, they say, oh, I noticed that there's this thing that you do that I don't, but I would love to step into your world and participate in some of the activities that you enjoy and figure out what it is that you enjoy from it and see if I can pull from that experience that you love and care for and enjoy so much. Men can fake interest, and I want you guys to be aware of that. A lot of times when guys are trying to fake their interest in you, they're going to say very particular things, and I want us to be clear on the difference between the real interest and that fake interest. Up here, we'll have up here fake interest. We'll say sayings. And down here, we'll have real interest actions. And remember the graph that I just showed you and how the graph was really intense at the very beginning and then it fell off a cliff after a while. He's going to say, I love you. I want to marry you. Let's have kids. Love at first sight, right? You are so perfect. Nobody's perfect, okay? Including you. These are all the different types of sayings that guys are going to say to you when they're trying to give you fake interest at the very beginning so that you believe that it's real emotional investment. And you notice here why this one says fake interest sayings, and this one here says real interest actions. Because real interest is not just saying that they're interested in you. Real interest is actually doing stuff. And because they do those things, that is an outward expression of real interest. Now, all the real interest actions are going to come, right? But they're going to come over time. They're going to be gradual. It'll come with patience. Let's say a buildup. They're going to feel natural. One of the things you'll notice is that fake interest tends to feel unnatural. And one of the reasons that it feels unnatural is because the emotions that someone will be expressing to you for the amount of time you've known them don't seem to be the natural, we'll say, timeline of events that should be happening at the pace that should be happening for the emotion that's being expressed. So for example, if I was a stranger and I came up to you on the street randomly and I looked you in your eyes and I stared real big and I said, I love you so much. I've never loved anyone like I've loved you. And all the time I've spent with you has made me realize there will never be anyone in my life that will ever compare to you. You'd probably be like, sir, please step back 10 feet from me. You're making me so uncomfortable. I don't know you. If I was that same person, except we've been dating for 3 years and I said that to you, it's going to feel a lot more justified because we've shared that time together. Number 3 is what we're going to call fun for all. Essentially means the idea that your fun is also going to be his fun. Now, I know I talked about shared activities and that sounds very similar, but in a more broad sense, what I'm also referring to is the idea of going somewhere or doing something that is your fun. Like you enjoy it. That's your thing. And when a guy is emotionally attracted to you, what becomes even more important than whether or not he's enjoying himself is if you're enjoying yourself and you're having a great time. He will gladly put his happiness on the sidelines for your happiness. Your happiness will be so important to him, he would rather be unhappy at the expense of you being happy than have himself be happy at the expense of your own happiness. Fun for you is fun for him, which makes it fun for everyone. Your fun becomes his fun because of how emotionally invested he is into you. Let's say, for the sake of example, you're like really into opera. Like you love opera so much. You're like singing in the bathroom, and you listen to opera every day, like that's your workout routine. You've got an opera playlist that's been your thing ever before since you met him since you were a little girl. And you like going to the opera house and hearing the opera singer sing, oh, that's your thing. He might not be into that. However, he notices that anytime you come back from the opera house, anytime you go to the opera house, whether it be with friends or just in general, right? You always come back so happy, you enjoy the experience, you have such a good time, you're so invested in it, and that brings you joy. He then says to himself, okay, I don't enjoy the opera house, but I know she enjoys the opera house. So actually, I'm going to try to make an effort for us to go to the opera house, even though I know I'm going to be miserable sitting and hearing these people scream at the top of their lungs and I'm going to be bored out of my mind. I know that coming out of that opera house, she will be happy. And in return for her happiness, I will be happy because I know when she's in a good mood, I can be in a good mood and everyone's in a good mood. And so really smart and intelligent men that are also emotionally invested in you realize that if they really want happiness, their best bet is to figure out what brings you the most happiness. And even if it's not fun for them, even if it's not exciting for them, that the best thing they can do is show a little bit of interest so that you don't think that they're miserable. And then also take you there and do that thing with you so that you're enjoying yourself, because that will mean he gets to enjoy himself and have happiness through you, right? His happiness doesn't have to come externally from whatever he's doing at that moment that brings him joy. His happiness can also come through the joy that you experience by doing things that you enjoy. Number 4 is when a man can be patient with you. Now, specifically the type of patience I'm talking about when he's emotionally attracted to you is patient in allowing you to be you. What's going to happen is when you're in a relationship that's unsuccessful, you might notice this thing that guys do. When they meet you, they immediately start trying to turn you into someone that they want you to be. They don't have any idea of who you actually are. So in their mind, they get to implant on you particular character traits or personality traits that they want you to have. And as time goes on in the relationship and they continue to meet you and get to know you better, they continue to want you to fit that box of the idea that they had of you at the very beginning. So they continuously try to turn you into the person that they imagined you to be when they first met you. And they're continuously frustrated when on an ongoing basis, as they learn you and understand you better, that they realize that you're not that person, because the person they're imagining isn't you. And most likely could never be you, because they're usually going to be imagining some sort of perfect human being. The number one thing that I want you to understand when we're talking about the patience here is not just waiting for you, like being patient in general. I'm talking about being patient with the fact that you are going to be you. And guys who are emotionally attracted to you will actually embrace the fact that you are you. And rather than trying to turn you into someone else, they will be patient in trying to learn you so that he can understand you better. That way he can work with you better. Not work against you, not turn you into someone else, but in understanding you and learning you, he'll be patient and he will embrace the fact that you are uniquely you. He wants to discover you rather than try to make you fit the mold of what he expects of you. Because the emotional attraction will also come with a lot of curiosity. And when men are curious about you, they're not curious about you to try to make you into someone else. They're curious about who you already are so that they can try to learn and understand who that person is. So let's say, for the sake of example, you're someone that when you go out, you like to know the day before, because you have to mentally prepare yourself for the day that it's coming. Because if you have to do something last minute or you have to do something the day of, there's like not this mental preparation in your mind that, hey, I'm gonna go out and meet people. Well, you're like a real introvert. You always like do horribly there and you don't have any social battery because you need like a mental preparation before you go to that place. And that's always been you. See, a man who is not patient with you will say something like this: what's your problem? I didn't know about this event before. Why do you have an issue with me telling you the day of? Why can't it just be something where we go out the day of? It's a simple work party. I don't understand why you need me to tell you literally days before for some mental preparation. But a man who is patient with you will say, oh, help me understand why it is that you need that mental preparation of like a day. Do you get anxious? What is bringing you the anxiety? Is it the idea of seeing new people? Is it the idea of having to hold conversation with strangers? And then you might explain to him, well, when we go out to like work parties together, when I've noticed whenever you go out with your friends, you tend to gravitate to your friends, and I'm just kind of left there and I don't really know who to talk to, and I feel a little bit awkward. And so a lot of times when I'm going to a new place where I feel awkward, or I feel like I don't really know a lot of people there, it makes me really nervous, and it's hard for me to like strike up conversation with people. So I need kind of that mental preparation of a day before I go into something, so I can like be ready to have my social battery up. I can do all the things I need to do the night before to feel confident, because when I go out and I feel confident, I feel good about myself, it helps me be more social. So then he might say, oh, you know what? I get that. You know what? That makes more sense to me, and I understand where you're coming from. I don't want to change you, but now I've made that mental note so that I can better understand in the future when we're going out. And if the scenario comes where, I actually only know the day before, or it's really important or really urgent, I will make sure to not expect you to just jump out of bed and be ready to go. And if you don't want to go, then that'll be perfectly fine with me. I'll understand. That's an example of a man who is patient in learning you and understanding you, and wants to allow you to be you and not try to turn you into something else. Now, number 5, I call this the second brain. Now, the reason I refer to it as the second brain is because you'll notice that when a man becomes emotionally attracted to you, he's going to start coming to you for advice. I'm talking about the fact that he will use you as a second brain to get more opinions, to get a better perspective, to get better understanding of what he's doing or what the best course of action might be. And he'll use you as a second brain to bounce ideas off of. You need to understand that a man who's emotionally attracted to you will actually trust your judgment and respects your judgment and thinking power and understanding of the world. He will ask you for advice on things that might not even be in your wheelhouse. Let's say, for the sake of example, he's a CEO at a Fortune 500 company because you like to date millionaires. So he comes to you and he's letting you know, he's like, you know what? We got this big third quarter meeting at work, and I'm just trying to figure out how to make the shareholders happy. I've got a lot of decisions to make, and the shareholders are really unhappy with the profit loss statement for this quarter, and our shipments aren't coming in on time. I've got to figure out how to cut some costs, lay off some employees. This new department in development, we're really working on something that could be groundbreaking, but I'm just not sure whether to cut this department because it is in development and it's not fully done yet, and I can't guarantee the profits, but at the same time, I know it has a lot of potential. I'm just not really sure what to do. And so you advise him, even though you're not in the field, you start asking him questions like, okay, so let me know, what do you think that this department is going to do? How do you think it's going to benefit the company? Well, I think it's really going to benefit the company because in the next 5 to 6 years, you see how the world's changing with technology and AI. This is going to be a system that we can implement into our business, and we could really skyrocket it. See, when we utilize this, eventually, once we build this system out, it's going to take a couple of years to get this done. But once we build this system out, it can really make a change in our business. And I feel like if we don't do this, we're going to be behind the 8 ball of all of our other competitors. And then you say to him, well, don't you think that would be exactly what you would need to do to tell the shareholders? And he's like, no, you're right. That's exactly what I should tell the shareholders, because yeah, that is really important for our business. And if we're going to be behind the 8 ball, how are we ever going to compete in the future? It's not just about today. It's about tomorrow. And when he uses you as a second brain, even if you're not in this field, he comes to you for advice to be able to understand the nuance of situations, ask you questions, analyze your advice, and really take it to heart. I always love this idea in my mind where I think to myself, back in the day, when there was kings and queens, you see, the king will tell all the knights, all the peasants, all the people of the kingdom exactly what to do. If he orders someone to be beheaded, they'll be beheaded. If he orders someone to be banished, they'll be banished. The king orders anything and everything that goes on in the kingdom. But when you think to yourself, if the king goes at home at night and he talks to his queen, and based on his queen's advice and based on his queen's words and thoughts and opinions and perspective, he is now persuaded to either do something or not do something based on the conversations he has with his queen. And his queen is so influential in his decision making that he can actually be swayed to make one decision or the other based on the conversation he has with her. well, then who really runs the kingdom? It's natural that when a man becomes emotionally attracted and invested in you, he's going to use you as a second brain, and you're actually going to be capable of influencing the decisions that he makes because he trusts your judgment. Because he believes in your ability to also analyze situations, bring good ideas to the table, and look at things in a way that he might not be seeing them, and for him to be able to implement those strategies or those tactics into whatever it is that he's doing, even if you don't actively work in his field. Number 6 is being protective. I mean this in both the physical sense and the emotional sense. Men who are emotionally attracted to you will be protective over you. They're not going to want people to take advantage of you. And one thing that you'll notice with men who are being protective of you is anytime you tell them about a situation you're going through, whether it be with your girlfriend, your friends, your family, whatever it may be, and he starts to feel like that person is either taking advantage of you or trying to take advantage of you, he's always going to step in or get upset that you're even allowing someone to take advantage of you. Why? Because he's naturally going to be protective over you, and even more so protective over your emotions. He doesn't want the, people to treat you however they want to treat you. But this should be in a concerned sense, where he does not want people to come into your life and just, take control of you or manipulate you. So let's say, for the sake of example, at work, you have a boss that is always on your butt. She's always up your butt about everything, but at the same time, she takes credit for everything that you do at work. So when you get an assignment done or you bring a really good idea to the table, you have to bring it through your boss. And when you bring it through your boss and it's a really good idea, she implements it. She tells upper management that she came up with this idea. She takes credit for the idea, so you don't get credit. But anytime there's something bad happening or anytime there's a whole bunch of responsibilities to be dumped on the table, she always dumps the responsibilities on your table. You figure out the solution to the situation, you bring the solution to her, and she takes credit for the solution. So then he starts saying, babe, you got to tell upper management about this, and you got to show them evidence that you've been bringing these solutions to the table. You can't let her continue to be taking advantage of you. You might even get into an argument with him because he's saying, you can't allow this to continue happening where you're the one doing all the work at work and your boss is taking credit for it. And you're saying, but no, babe, I can't go to upper management because if I go above her, I could risk my job. He starts to get heated and upset that someone else is taking advantage of you at work and you're not getting your justice for what you're bringing and offering to the table. And so he becomes protective over your emotions, protective over you in general, and wanting to make sure that even when he's not around, even when he can't take care of you, he wants to fight for you in ways that are indirect by helping you stand up for yourself against people who are trying to take advantage of you. Men become protective over you when they become emotionally attracted to you. It's impossible for them to not, right? They can't just say, I don't care, I don't give a damn, when they actually love you and care about you. It's number 7 is he wants to learn from you. See, when a guy respects your way of thinking, when a guy is attracted to you emotionally, he's also subsequently attracted to your mind and the way that you think and the way that you approach life. So when he meets you, obviously he has his own experiences in life. Obviously he has his own way of going about things. What he's going to become fascinated by is how you think, how you operate, how you approach life. See, because you guys are naturally going to be individuals and going to be different in the way that you think and go about life, he will take the opportunity in learning you and understanding you to learn from you. Guys who are really emotionally attracted and invested in you will actually try to learn some tricks or some talents that you already possess, some ways or hacks of going about life that you already do or know or understand based on your experience. And he'll actually try to learn from your experiences to get a better understanding of the world or to implement those tools and put those tools in his toolbox. So let's say, for the sake of example, you're someone who knows how to use your presence to persuade people, and you have been, suffering from pretty privilege all your life, and you're someone that knows how to talk someone into out of saying no to you into saying yes to you just by simply presenting yourself in a particular way, being very personable to them and getting them, really invested in you, where they say, it was a no at first, but sure, you can get the thing. And so he's like, oh, well, explain to me, like, how do you do that? And then you start explaining to him, so when you go up to someone and they tell you no, you've got to start thinking about like, what do they care about the most? So for example, I was at a club one time and me and my girls literally couldn't get in because we came in at 12:30. But like when I was talking to the bouncer, I was explaining to him because I saw that on his wrist, he was wearing his favorite football team. So when we were talking and having conversation, rather than talking about trying to get into the club, I started chatting with him about his favorite football team. His favorite football team was the Indianapolis Colts. And so I was talking to him about the Colts and I was like, did you end up going to the Super Bowl when they had the Super Bowl? And how many games have you been into? And literally for the next 5 minutes, I just had a conversation with him about the Colts. And then after the 5 minutes of the conversation, he was like, you know what, you and your girls, you guys can come in. Don't worry. Don't tell anyone. You start explaining to him, like, all you have to do is notice something about someone, start talking about that, and it disarms them. And a lot of times they'll want to do something for you because you started showing interest in them and their own life, and it makes you real to them. And then he says, oh, that's a really good idea. I never thought of it like that. I'm going to implement that in work. I'm going to implement that when I meet people. And see, that's the really amazing part about building a relationship with someone, is that not only do you get to meet that person, but you also get to learn from that person and learn from their experiences. You get to see some of their skill sets in action, and you actually get to take some of them, have them teach you some of those skill sets, and utilize some of those skill sets in your own life. And a lot of men who are emotionally attracted and invested in you will love to be able to learn more about life through you, travel with you. If you have a different culture and trying to understand the way that the family structure is and how you guys go about things and how you guys talk and the language, all these things, right? Men will use because they want to learn from your own experience in life. They want to learn from you, the human being and the individual. And they take pride in being able to learn from you because that knowledge that they get not only helps them better understand you, but it even in a weird way helps them better understand themselves.